Hello everybody. Today we're going to be doing our first official video. I must apologize. We haven't purchased any kind of gimbal software or any gimbal or tripods yet. So right now I just have this phone attached to the TV mount, showing the screen where I'm working. And today we're going to be making fresh lemon blackberry scones from scratch. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is start with our flour. We need 2 cups. And I have to run the air conditioning because we're down here in the Keys in Florida, and it's a little too humid to be baking scones because it's too hard to work with the dough. So we have the air conditioning on. Yulima's in the background covered up with a throw. So we got 2 cups of flour. Take the 1/4 teaspoon. Baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now traditionally I usually do this with a Ninja blender, but we're just started full time on the road, so I don't have everything set up as of yet, so I have to do mixing manually, which is a little bit tricky for me. And someone's in the background making faces at me, not helping at all. Okay. We're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Our stuff's done, so we're going to put that aside so it's not congesting our small workspace. And then last thing we're going to add to the dry ingredients is going to be a 1/3 cup of monk fruit. Now we are completely sugar free for the most part, with a tad here and there, but so everything I bake is with monk fruit or stevia. The scones work really well with the monk fruit. And then I'll leave that out because we're going to use a little bit for the topping a little bit later. So as you can see, I have actually a spatula designed for wax, for doing waxing your skin. This was a brand new one out of the package. It's never been used for that. So it's the best thing I have for stirring the dry ingredients for the ability that I have at this time. I do have one of these with me as well, but once I get the ingredients wet, this doesn't work so well for me, especially in this weather. I'm just going to mix that up. Good. Get it all blended together. Okay, got that pretty much blended together. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our cold butter that's been sitting in the fridge, and we're going to mix that in with a butter knife, a little bit at a time. And I've found with my scones, it's always best to have the butter really cold. I've even done it frozen at times, but sometimes it's a little harder to work with.
You use real butter.
And I do use real butter because I've tried margarine and other components, and the consistency is just not right for the actual scones. I know some people like to use you know, specific diet things like the G butter and other butters, but I just use the traditional real butter. I mean, and I am lactose intolerant, so it doesn't affect me. Now, here's where I come in to this, because this is gonna get hung up once I start mixing in. Fork blending, knife blending the butter. And the nice thing about this is it's got the stiff edge, and since I don't have a blender, I can break those butter pieces down. So we got to get in there and chop the pieces down, because we want the size of, ideally I want the size of peas in the crumble. Crumble with no more than the size of a pea. Okay, put in some more butter. We do want to use the entire stick. Because of the only angle I can get my camera and not having any selfie stick or tripod yet. And I was wanting to get a selfie stick before my first actual video. However, holiday season, there's not a lot of options to get things shipped to you, especially when you're living full-time on the road. For Christmas time and the holidays, it's just we had limited resources, and especially down here in the Keys, it's really difficult to get stuff shipped because they have to come all the way down the overseas highway. And the last park we were at, in fact, down here, they didn't even allow packages. So I was lucky just to get some pure applewood pellets for my grill shipped down here in time. Which I do my own pellet smoked baby back ribs. So that'll be in another video, if you guys like what you see. Hopefully by then I should have a gimbal and tripods and some goodies. As you can see, that's pretty broken down, looks like crumbles. That's the way we want it. So next thing we're going to do is just wash our hands. So in order to do that, I'm going to put that aside because I have a limited space in the viewing of the camera. And once again, I don't have the best shredder, so I'm actually going to have to take these. We want to use a whole lemon. And I'm going to just get the zest, and then I have to come back through and chop it with a chef knife, because I like it nice and fine. Still a little large, so then we're going to go back and take our chef knife. Just going to chop it down to a finer product for the mix. Yeah, that's a pretty good fine mixture there. So now we're going to start on the second part, which we're going to do the wet mix. So we're going to see how much lemon zest we have. Add that in. There's about a tablespoon. There's about another tablespoon. Take about another half. And just start the rest. We don't want it overpowering. I found about 2 to 2.5. Get out 1 egg. always use brown eggs for my scones. They have a better, richer flavor. Then we want to use half cup of sour cream. Once we got that, we're going to blend that up. Once we got that blended, now we're going to add that back into the dry mixture. Until we get it into a nice ball. Once again, I prefer my Ninja Food Processor blender, but I don't have one with me. So I'll have to work with what I have. Keep our surface coated so it doesn't stick. Now we got a nice ball formed. And I don't have rollers or anything, so I'm just going to hand press it. Put more flour on the palms so it doesn't stick to my hands when I'm pressing. We get it pressed down nice and flat and even. Put that aside. Put that aside. Okay, now we're ready to add the blackberries, which I have chilling here in the fridge. And you could change up the recipe with variations. Like if you're gluten free, obviously you use a gluten free flour, different kinds of flour. I'm using a traditional flour, but the only issues I have are the lactose, but you know, obviously you can change it up to any of your allergies you might have. So when I do the blackberries, I like to chop them down. A lot of recipes will tell you to mix them in with the blender, like softly mix. I've never had real good success. They just turn to mush. So I've always taken my blackberries and just chop them by hand and then roll the dough back together. Try to get somewhat of an even surface, and then we make it into about a pie size. Once I got it in a pretty good round, I'm going to take my chef knife and I'll cut it up into pie squares. Separate them a bit, just so they're easier to work with when we go to put them in the air fryer. Push them back together just a little bit. You can use any type of oil of your preference. I use extra virgin olive oil. Fry really good with some oil, and this is where we take our extra monk fruit or sugar of your choice. We're just going to sprinkle over the top, or a little bit of a topping. And the oil gives it a nice browning actually in the air fryer. Got our topping on there, we're ready for the air fryer. always like to spray the bottom of that. Today I'm making for 2, so I'm going to put 2 scones, wrap them, put them up. Once I get these in, I give them another additional spray usually, just to make sure I get the sides as well. It gives it a nice brownie. Then we're going to take it in the air fryer. We're using the Kasari, which is Kasori air fryer, which we've had a few different models. This one's worked really well, especially for these scones. They do really well. We're going to start it. I'm going to set this at 375. Set it for 12 minutes. And we're going to let that bake. We'll come back when it's done. Okay, our scones are done cooking. They're out of the air fryer. Look at those, nice and brown. Look at the way they look. Place those right here. Sometimes they use that, but sometimes these scones come out so well in the air fryer. You can lift them right out. Look at that. Nice brown coating. Beautiful tint. Nice, good bottom. Blackberries oozing out. And we are ready to eat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you want to see more content like this, please like. And if you'd like to subscribe, that'd be great, because we are trying to grow our channel. Till the next one.